guest this morning is Jared Golden, who is the co-founder of Pear. And thank you so much for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it. So, disclosure, I've worked in the past with Pear, and I know a little bit about what they've got going on, but I haven't spoken to them in a little while, so it's kind of a chance to catch up and really understand a little bit more. So for the folks at home, help me explain, what is it that Pear is doing, and how is it that you're, reaching the people you want to reach?
So, Pear is a platform for the millions of groups and events out there looking for sponsorship for their grassroots event, group itself, or cause. And what we do is connect them with a brand, a major brand, or a business nearby that is looking to engage with a group just like that, and help each side get more out of the sponsorship equation, sponsorship transaction. And the easiest example we like to give is so people can kind of get it right away. Think of a little league, and they're used to being sponsored or trying to get sponsored, banging people's doors around town by local restaurants or pizza shops.
Nathan's Famous sponsored my Little League team. I remember it.
Yeah, there you go. So imagine that Little League team being sponsored by Verizon Wireless, getting the benefit that they need out of it, and on Verizon Wireless's side, sponsoring tens of thousands of Little Leagues and kind of tapping into that power.
So you're enabling on one side the large companies to sponsor local folks, and on the other side, you're letting those local folks connect to the large possible sponsors and sources of sponsorship dollars.
Exactly. Yeah, it's something that those local groups and events have always wished they could do. It's kind of many of these big brands are aspirational brands, especially in that example we gave. For example, for Little League players to have the same kind of sponsorship that they're kind of the pro players that they aspire to be get. It's really powerful for them, and all we're doing for the brand side of the deal is just making it economically feasible for them to do. It's something that they haven't been able to do in the past, and we're just kind of opening the door for them.
So you're reaching actually not just little bits of groups and not just Little Leagues, but really a pretty large audience. Tell me about kind of who you're reaching and how you're reaching them.
Sure, yeah. When we say millions of groups out there, we track several hundred of what we call group segments.
Okay.
And Little Leagues are just one example. It goes all the way up to high school K through 12 groups and events, and many of them are not sports. Think about science fairs and alternative spring break, charity groups. Into the college segments, we track Greek and non-Greek groups and events, political student, political associations, and other kinds of on-campus clubs. A typical major campus has a couple hundred student groups.
Certainly does.
And then into the adult segments, we track everything from moms, yoga clubs and book clubs to young professional associations, and even into the adult, retirement age softball leagues that are out there.
That sounds like fun. I hope I get to play retirement league softball at some point in the very, very distant future.
You just keep in shape, you'll get there.
I'm working on that. I got one of these misfit bands from the folks out here in the Indiegogo house to track my fitness.
I've got my Fitbit on.
That's fantastic.
It's a little early today.
So, you're reaching all these millions of groups, and on the other side, you have these brands who are interested in reaching these consumers. But it's not just a sales relationship. You're really trying to make a connection here, and that's something that really appealed to me. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. We think we're part of what's really a macro trend in the brand marketing world, which is even affecting local business marketers and being embraced by them. It's really about turning brands into a platform for consumers to express themselves. Brand marketers leveraging the power of their brand, the reach of their brand, to do good in the world, and of course in a way that's good for themselves as well, but isn't just good for them. It's actually giving consumers a voice, and that really makes an impression and builds loyalty and drives business. And it's just something that marketers have to be very careful as they wade into, because it's a double-edged sword, and that's part of what's making the adoption of this idea a little slower. And I don't mean Pear in particular, but just this idea of engagement-based marketing.
We're not talking about CSR now, right? This is really coming from the marketing side, where you're really trying to generate audience and connection with product.
Absolutely. The philanthropic edge of this couldn't be underscored enough, but it's to the marketer, it's not a donation, it's not a one-way street. And sponsorship itself, whether it's marquee professional organization sponsorship or grassroots like we work with, it's inherently reciprocal in nature, and it's just it's just something that's hard to track and measure, and that's all we're really adding to it.
So that's actually where I want to go next. So we're talking about this reciprocation, and so what is it that people are doing? The little leagues and the church groups and the fraternities and others that you've mentioned to reciprocate back for the money that they're bringing in as a sponsorship side.
Sure. The way it works is actually a similar kind of architecture to some of the crowdfunding sites out there, like Indiegogo, except instead of getting those group members, instead of getting their friends and family to back their project, the idea is to get them to celebrate the fact that this brand or business is sponsoring them by interacting with them online. Okay. So they're rallying their friends to connect to their sponsorship page and do whatever that program entails, and they do vary, but the idea is that each interaction is really an authentic celebration of what that business is doing for that group. And so it could entail having group members and their friends generate content, write blog or Facebook posts about the story, actually join that sponsor's following on social networks, things that are good for both sides when they're done as an authentic expression.
So by my group sharing what's going on with that brand in a social context, I'm saying thank you for sponsoring my group or my friend's group or the thing that I'm supporting here, and getting that content out into the world.
Absolutely. It's what makes it authentic is not that we say it's authentic or the sponsor says it's authentic. It's that the consumer does, the person in that grassroots group. And it seems like that's a theme for the morning on the show, and it's tapping into the power of what people care about.
Right.
And in our case, it's a group that has a cause or interest, and the power of a network, power of a group, even if it's smaller, is greater than one person.
Tell me about a group that got something that changed their dynamic or was really a positive move towards making that group move forward.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we work with a lot of segments for Verizon Wireless. As you can imagine, their customer base is pretty diverse and eclectic.
Sure.
An example of a local group, there is a sports organization out of Detroit. It's called Come Play Detroit.
Okay.
And it's really interesting in that all of their league fees and dues paid in by members actually are donated to charity. They partner with a different charity every year.
Okay.
The one they worked with last fall, and we partnered with them with the site, was called Detroit Harmony. It's an organization that takes inner city school children and puts them in after-school programs that are around music and chorus. And this league, Come Play Detroit, actually doubled the amount that they were able to donate to Come Play Detroit to Detroit Harmony by getting sponsored by Verizon on the site. And the impact of this in the community was so great. You just have to kind of see the letters that are posted, the pictures, the videos that people post, and all the tagging and commenting that goes on. It really is a sort of each of these little sponsorships is an explosion of gratitude and engagement that it's just.
But it also sponsors a group that might not have had that revenue to be able to do other things that were really important.
Absolutely.
And so what you're talking about here is really. We're not talking about impressions and buying, eyeballs and trying to get them to see, Facebook posts and, that are sort of random and hoping that they're going to share them. We're really talking about a one-to-one relationship or a one-to-few relationship between some of these brands and some of the groups that you're connecting with.
Absolutely. I think, quantitative marketing and impressions and targeting and optimizing by the numbers, that's not going to go away.
No.
But the kind of the spirit of what marketers big and small are looking for has shifted, and it's turned into engagement that's real, versus engagement that's not real. And engagement means something different for different types of brands depending on what they're in the business of doing.
Right.
But people talking about their business, people sharing their business or their offer in a way that is in a positive light. It's always been kind of the holy grail of marketers, and we're a kind of a scalable but truly authentic way to do that. So I hate to keep plugging us. It's just something we're really passionate about.
No, it's obvious, and I know you guys work with both national brands and folks that are looking to reach people at scale, and you also enable some local outreach from local companies to find the right folks to sponsor as well. So you keep the money in that sense really in the community. and tell me more a little bit about that.
Yeah, the small business arena is one that we're just branching into. We're coming up on 5 years old here. We've kind of broke our teeth working with big brands and connecting them locally. But the place where this transaction's gone on most often in the last, in history has been in the small business arena.
Sure.
And we just thought there's absolutely no reason why our platform can't help optimize those as well. Right. And so we just opened up our small business solution. It's called Pear Next Door in Chicago. And we're hoping to grow to thousands of businesses out from there later this year.
That's great. So you guys have been in business for a couple of years. What's it been like building this up and telling this story to companies and agencies and folks who you're trying to get to understand the value of reaching these folks as in scale at small groups?
We kind of realized early on, maybe a couple months into founding the company, that what we were building, to really kind of realize the opportunity there, we'd have to get marketers to think of what we're doing as a whole new channel.
Right.
And that ain't easy. That takes several years, so we knew we'd have a long road ahead of us. But I think it's just a combination of the market education that we and some other engagement-based platforms have been doing the last several years. By no means just us. We're talking about dozens and soon hundreds of companies. A combination of that and the macro, the shift in the macro environment, if you will, in the industry, with just marketers kind of coming around to this way of thinking and learning how to embrace making their brands a platform for expression,
right? And
not be threatened by it and not feel that it's not being worried about getting nicked by the other side of the double-edged sword.
Right. And you guys, I think the founding team, you guys went to college together. How did you find each other and decide that this was the idea? That's something that's pretty unique right out of that.
Sure. It's kind of a crazy story. I still smirk when I think about it, but two of our three co-founders, myself and my partner Amish, we met in a Microsoft Excel class in undergrad at Indiana. And the third co-founder is a professor that we took a class from when we were seniors, and we just really struck it up in office hours, and a couple years later kind of reconnected and decided to get on this train together.
That's a really powerful founding story. And I know that some of the initial things that you were doing were relating to T-shirt sales. And you guys have moved past that in a sense, but you also still have some connection to that.
Sure. On the platform, one of the more popular sponsorship awards that across all programs is custom shirts. Many groups out there are looking for custom shirts or money to buy them, and Little Leagues included. And actually, that's just kind of where the insight came from for this thing. We originally, in undergrad, we had a separate startup that was a production engine for custom shirts for college groups. And we used to get requests for our team, our staff, to help those groups find a sponsor each and every day. And we had to kind of hit ourselves in our thick skulls a few hundred times for us to realize that it might be a business opportunity.
Fantastic. Couple, small amount of time left. Lightning round. What at South by Southwest has made your brain go boom and say, wow, this is new?
That's a timely question. I've been coming here for 5 years, and my brain has never exploded to the extent it has this year. I just love what's going on with hardware and wearables. It's finally, these products and services are coming out of prototype mode and can actually start to see what they're capable of doing. I saw a ring on the trade show floor that's a gesture-based control device for pretty much anything. It's in the form of a ring. I'm getting married next spring, and maybe that'll be my wedding band. But,
I was going to say, I bet your wife wants one of those control rings that has a diamond and makes you do the laundry.
You know what? They don't need a whole lot of high tech to make that work. I think she figured that out a long time ago.
Oh, very good. Thank you so much, Jared. Tell the name of the company and the website where people can find you.
Once again, it's company's Pear. The website is pearup, pearup.com.
Thank you so much for being my guest this morning with Indiegogo on TechZulu.com. I'm Howard Greenstein at HowardGR, and we are out. Thank you so much for watching this morning, and we'll be back live streaming all day long on TechZulu.com.